Hey, everybody. Welcome to another live online town hall meeting where we just kind of hang out tonight. We've got a few things that we want to just address about the upcoming diversity shoot. And a few people have had some questions that we just want to cover those. We also want to give you a chance if there's something you would like to know specifically about diversity shoot, but then afterwards we can maybe open it up to a few other wider topics too. But we want to give you a chance just to be in contact. Love this online town hall format. I really do. Tonight's not going to be anything that's really organized or structured. Trish and I just kind of want to have a conversation, but we don't just want it to be between the two of us. We want to have you included in the conversation as well. So that's why we do this live. We want you to be able to put your comments there in the live chat, YouTube and Facebook both. And we also ask you to share the link to anybody and everybody that you know that would also like to ask some questions and find some stuff out. So Denise says to speak up. Am I coming through very quietly?
I can hear you okay.
Normally people tell me to be quieter because I'm too loud. I almost shout into my microphone. So if that's going on tonight, let me know. Denise, let me know how the volume is. Do I need to go louder? It's very rare that anybody says that to me. So I guess I should introduce myself for those of you that are new to our online town halls. My name is John Anderson. I am Director of Media for Nebraska Firearms Owners Association. We also have our fearless leader, NFOA President, Trish Harrold, is with us as well.
Hi, everybody.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
Denise says I'm very distant. Anybody else who's out there on Facebook, can you tell me if I'm very distant to you? Still waiting for LB. We'll get there. I think it's Renee. We'll get there after we have a chance to cover some of this other stuff. Before I go too deep, though, I want to make sure that on the Facebook side that I'm coming through okay. Sheila says it sounds okay. Denise, maybe you need to close the window and open it back up. Denise, I also want to know how it sounds. Does Trish sound distant too? Maybe.
How do I sound, Denise? Do I sound better than John or same volume?
Notice she said sound better. All you out there in the comments, you don't have to mention who looks better. We all know. Okay. With that said, we're going to kind of get into things a little bit. But again, I encourage all of you to jump in the live chat because we want this to be a discussion, not just a TV show. All right. Everybody says that we sound pretty good except for Denise. So maybe Denise, maybe you need to restart your computer or phone, whatever you're using. I'm not sure, but we're going to keep going. So, all right. So we've got this diversity shoot coming up in a couple weeks, not quite 2 weeks now, 2 weeks from yesterday. It's going to be July 25th. And let me see if I can get this right. July 25th, 2021 is the year.
Yes.
Last online town hall when we had the founder of Diversity Shoot, I goofed that up and said 2001. So this would be the 20th anniversary. All right. So that's coming up July 25th, 2021, in case you're watching this way after the fact. That is going to happen at Athena Arms in Bellevue, Nebraska. And Diversity Shoot is a very cool event. The founder, his name is Tony Simon, had always wanted to be able to include more people, and I don't want to say include more people, to fold more people in to the pro-gun and pro-Second Amendment family. And when he first got involved in Second Amendment advocacy, he went to a couple events and realized that I shouldn't say events. I think he went to testify at his state capitol in Trenton, there in New Jersey. He realized that he was the only person of color who showed up to testify on behalf of the Second Amendment against the bad bills or for any good ones that were proposed there in New Jersey. And so he thought, how do I fix that? And he kept saying to himself and to anyone who would listen, somebody needs to start something. Somebody needs to do something. finally he got challenged to do it himself, and he said, why not? So he started an event, I think it was in 2015. He called it Diversity Shoot. Excuse me. And he started this to try and bring not only people of color, people of differing thoughts, people of differing religions, people of differing sexual orientations, whatever your background is. He wanted people to come check it out and find out what it means when he would say the Second Amendment applies to everyone, because it does. That has become a very successful event. He's doing almost one a week, I think, all summer now, in 2 and maybe 3 states around the New Jersey, Pennsylvania area. I guess I should say 3 for sure, because he's coming to Nebraska. Mm-hmm. So a lot of you have kind of wondered, with the email that got sent out to a lot of our members, the posts that got put up on social media advertising the Diversity Shoot, with the Eventbrite link. So if you want to go, or if you want to invite someone else to go, there is a small fee, $20, to get in and actually do the shooting part of it. We'll have some other stuff that doesn't cost anything to come out and check it out that day. But a lot of folks are starting to wonder, what has happened? Why all of a sudden, and of course, we are coming off of Pride Month, why all of a sudden is the NFOA starting to sound woke, right? What's happened? What's changed? So the first thing that Trish and I want to talk about, and we want you obviously in the conversation as well, nothing's changed. From its inception, NFOA has always been an organization that didn't care about who you were, what you look like, who you love, who you worship, how much skin pigment you have, any of that stuff. None of that has ever mattered. Even NFOA doesn't care what party you're registered in to vote in the primary. Mm-hmm. That's never been an issue. We've always been a nonpartisan organization. A true meaning of the word nonpartisan. That is absolutely, political party doesn't matter. We don't care. Everybody is welcome to be part of NFOA. We don't even exclude people who aren't residents of Nebraska. Now, you don't get to vote for Trish and myself as board members, but you can be an associate member if you're not a resident of Nebraska. Mm-hmm. If you are, then of course you get to decide who the board members are that speak for the organization. And so that's the first thing that we want to convey. Nothing has changed in NFOA. Here's the deal, though. Before I was involved with NFOA, which happened, I was first introduced to Trish and the organization, I believe it was 2017. We had a 2A rally on the Capitol steps there on the west side of the Capitol building in Lincoln. And that was where I first met Trish and a few other board members. Until then, I didn't know there was an NFOA. Until I got involved and decided that I wanted to be part of the board, and I ran for a position on the board. A lot of the people that I talked to weren't aware that there was an NFOA here in Nebraska. And so what we want to do is a couple different things. First and foremost, we want to have more events of all different types, just to get the word out across the state that there is an organization in our state who not only goes to the Capitol to testify on our behalf as firearm owners, but we also want to grow the other side, the other aspects of the organization as far as education, recruiting more members, recruiting not only members for NFOA, but just more members of the pro 2A and pro gun families, which are similar but not identical. And so the fact that NFOA has always been inclusive isn't widely known, because the fact that there is an NFOA isn't widely known. Here comes Diversity Shoot. I found out about Tony again a couple years ago, found out what he was doing, got to know him through various online sources, and I've had a lot of great conversations both online and on the phone with Tony. I decided to approach the board to see what everybody thought about inviting Tony out to help us get started with the Diversity Shoot in Nebraska. Now, he's not going to come back for all of them. He's always going to be welcome to, but we're only bringing Tony out for the first one to help us get it started, tell us what we need to know, and then we'll take it from there. And with any luck, this will become a regular thing. So Diversity Shoot is a great way to reach out to people who, again, lots of different things. There are large groups of people in the U.S. who grow up getting told from a very young age, you need to stay away from guns. Guns are not for you. If you have a gun, people are going to think you're a thug, or people are going to think you're a terrorist, or people are going to think this or that or the other. So people get indoctrinated from a young age that bad people have guns. Good people like us don't want shot by the police, so we want to stay away from guns. Now, most of the people listening to my voice right now probably agree with the way that Trish and I feel. We know that that's not true, that good people have guns. In fact, guns are used more for good than for bad every year, and the FBI has those statistics to back that up. We want to get that word out. We want to grow NFOA. We want to grow the gun owner and pro 2A families. We want to reach out to some of the folks who maybe aren't sure if they would belong. We want to make sure that the whole world, especially the whole state of Nebraska, but the whole world knows that as an organization, NFOA wants everybody. We don't care who you are. If you are a Nebraskan, we want you to join our group. If you're not a Nebraskan, we want you to help us grow our group full of Nebraska firearm owners. That's why we're doing this.
And John, I think, that's an interesting point you're making. NFOA has had its door open since inception, but if people don't know where the door is, they don't know to walk through the door, right? They don't know that they're welcome and that they would be welcomed when they enter. And it's not that we don't care who you are. We love who you are. We welcome who you are. We're interested in who you are. Diversity, the word diversity, like so many other words now, pop culture, politically correct terms, whatever. I mean, the word exists, right? It means differences. But the one thing that we have in common is a belief in the Second Amendment in the sense of our inherent rights to own, possess, and transport firearms for, lawful purposes. But the biggest thing I think is I'm new to gun ownership. I am not a born and bred multi-traditional gun owner. I didn't become a gun owner until a little while after, I was widowed, where, the gun was a necessity. It certainly wasn't a way of life for me. What I want out of the Diversity Shoot is to introduce to people an opportunity that they probably don't know exists. And it's an opportunity to learn, to be welcomed, to be educated, and to be empowered and to be equipped with knowledge and skills, and to do things that bring a smile to our faces. So, firearms at first were a necessity, something I had to have. It wasn't something that I would say was part of my life, but it is a huge part of my life now. My friends have expanded. My opportunities have diversified. I have met so many amazing people, have gotten to do so many incredible things simply by being part of this community. And the firearm is obviously at the center of it, but it's so much bigger than that. And so what I have found is within our own membership, with the different events that we've had, I've met so many incredible people with so many different stories for why they've come, how they were invited to come to join the 2A community. And I have watched so many individuals over the years that I've conducted training for, their whole lives have changed to the good, to the positive. And that's really what this Diversity Shoot is about. It's celebrating the existing differences and diversity within our membership, but also just within our communities, right? It's about having an opportunity to have a space where people can come, and there are going to be a ton of experts who are so excited about sharing their expertise, sharing their background, sharing their information, answering questions, creating a really relaxing and affirming and comfortable atmosphere for people who could not imagine walking into a gun store, for instance, or into a range, or joining, a gun club, who might be somewhat curious or even tentative about the whole firearm thing. That's what this whole event is about. It's not just, like our annual members meeting. It is very targeted to people, for the purposes of letting them see that this door is open, and that door has always been open, and they're going to be welcome upon entry. And so that's something I just wanted to share, because it isn't about like, oh, we need to have a quota. We need to have certain numbers of people that look like this or talk like that or come from this group or come from that group. That is actually irrelevant, really. What really makes our organization diverse isn't on the outside, it's on the inside, right? It's the individuals who come with their talents, their skills, their ideas, their passion, a hunger to learn. That's what's made NFOA great. That's really the heart of any really successful grassroots organization. And my dogs agree. And so that's what we want Diversity Shoot to do.
You're kind of
do that.
Your video's getting choppy and your audio starting to fade a little bit. I don't know. I know Omaha's had some issues with power and internet here lately.
Yeah, we have here, definitely.
So now you're sounding a little bit distant even to me. Hopefully that clears back up for you. And you brought up a great point that every time I think about Diversity Shoot, which is multiple times a day lately, I think of another group of people who it would be great to have come out. There are going to be a lot of people who didn't necessarily get told guns aren't for them. There are a lot of people out there who think that it would be great to be able to empower themselves, keep themselves safe, especially with all of the civil unrest that has been happening over the last year and a half. And we never know when the next thing will erupt and another town will be literally on fire. So there are tons of people out there in our state as well who are considering maybe arming themselves for the first time with a firearm. If they flat out don't know who to talk to, they're afraid to just go to a gun store because those can be intimidating, especially for somebody who was previously either on the fence about guns or maybe was against them and now has decided that they may be willing to change their mind, or at least they may be willing to open their mind. We want those people to come out too. Diversity Shoot is a way that anybody can come out and in a safe and responsible environment, try it out. Pick up a firearm, have somebody right there showing you the parts of it, how it works, how to be safe, how to be responsible with it, and make sure that nobody gets hurt, of course. And then maybe pull their first trigger of their life for the first time and find out whether or not it's something that they would ever want to fire shot number 2. Some people are going to try it honestly and not like it and decide, yep, guns aren't for me. And that's okay. That's a freedom that you have in this country. Other people are going to try it and say, wow. And that's what we're all about, is that wow moment, right? I never thought that these would be fun. I thought these were evil little devices. And it turns out that no, guns can be a lot of fun, right? We all know that as members and as firearm owners, we all have different reasons why we have them. But I mean, flat out going to the range and doing some plinking is a great way to spend some time. It just is.
Yeah. The other thing too is, I mean, in Nebraska, there is a huge firearm owner community, much larger than I would say the 2A community. And we've all seen, I won't name names, but different elected officials, different candidates running for office, and they post their, 2A pride and they're hunting, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Hunting's awesome. And NFOA has certainly worked hard to preserve our rights and freedoms to hunt. We stopped, McAllister's bill, which would have really, really, really put a damper on anyone using long guns for anything. But the Second Amendment isn't about hunting. Okay. And so for me, if a candidate or elected official is putting themselves out there with that as their, justification for my belief in their, support for the Second Amendment and the preservation of Article 1, Section 1 of our Constitution, their PR people really need some help. And we'd be happy to just say, no, don't do that. There's another way you can go about, showing your support, because the citizens who are working so hard to preserve our rights and freedoms are putting their feet where their mouth is, basically. I mean, they're, you can't even say boots on the ground anymore because boots are bad, but they're the ones who are, taking time, going to the state capitol, going to their county commissioners, going to their city councils and testifying, right? And writing letters and sending emails and what have you. And so part of this also is that the Second Amendment is for everyone, which means every single gun owner, whether your passion and your love with firearms has to do with collecting or hunting, shooting sports, competition, or self-defense, whatever's your primary, reason for owning firearms. And in the competitive world, we have thousands upon thousands of competitors in Nebraska, and many of them do participate in NFOA events and do support work that makes a difference. But I think there are a lot of gun owners who feel very safe in our state. And part of NFOA is to educate and to open people's eyes about what threats exist, as well as what opportunities exist to continue to preserve and advance our freedoms. So that's another part of this diversity shoot, is opening up even gun owners' eyes to the need to advocate for the Second Amendment.
Exactly right. We've got a couple comments and questions out there in the mostly on the Facebook side. It looks like some of the questions, Mark, I see you out there. Some of that stuff we will get to later on. Denise has a question that says, so how do we approach groups predominantly people of color? That's a great question.
Yeah. So I'll just talk about what I've done so far. I have done as an individual. I'm a training counselor, which means within the firearm instructor world, I can train and educate others to become firearm instructors. And I made a point to reach out to other parts of the Omaha metro area to find candidates who would be great instructors. And so I'm proud to share that I have trained several who are now very successful in North and South Omaha, which is near where I live. And they're running concealed carry classes. They're running basic pistol classes. They're teaching law classes with regards to, ownership and purchasing and storage. They're teaching safety practices. And the key for me is, if it takes an individual to feel comfortable, to find someone where they have something in common with them, whether it's their neighborhood, what they look like, their background, so that they have that commonality for them to trust them, then I'm all about that, right? So I know, for me, I'm a female and I've been trained by more male instructors than I have females, but at the same time, I've had some incredible ladies who have instructed me. And so I'm pretty much comfortable with anyone, but I know a ton of men and a ton of women who have sought out certain kinds of instructors for that additional level of comfort. And if that's what it takes for that door to be opened, for them to join our community, then I'm all for it. So that's the biggest part, is talking to your friends who are different than you. And whatever that difference is, right? The people that you may not have ever thought, hey, would you ever like to go to the shooting range with me? I love shooting. I'd be happy to introduce you. I have some firearms. You can, borrow my firearms. Back in the day, we used to say, I'd even supply your ammo. But that's the easiest way, is just to invite people, the same way you get invited to the movies or invited to go out boating, invite them to go to the range with you.
And let me mention this too, Denise, and not just Denise, but anybody who's listening. If you want to help invite people, step number one is the hardest step. talk about it. Just bring it up to people, invite them. If you invited 10 people and then they each invited 10 people, then you've got 100 people that you are responsible for getting the word to. So this doesn't only apply to the people who don't look like you or don't talk like you or don't love like you or worship like you. Absolutely talk to the people who you do have those things in common with, because they may know some people too. We are working very hard to have, like Trish said, a very wide array of volunteers to come up and help give instruction, both instructors and safety officers as well. To that way, just like Trish said, if there's somebody that you would prefer to, or you would gravitate toward as far as helping you out, we want to have somebody who makes you feel safe and comfortable. If you're a female and you would prefer to learn from a female, then that's understandable. Also understandable, and I know that this is maybe not very PC, but if you're a male and you would prefer to learn from a male, understandable. We'll have males there too. If you're a person of color, I mean, we will do our best to have a very wide selection so that everybody feels comfortable. The one thing that I can't stress enough is no matter who you are, we will promise you this will be a safe place to go. I know I'm using a lot of what we call buzzwords. I'm using a lot of things tonight that typically you don't see the pro-gun, pro-2A people or hear them use these words. I'm going to use them, but I'm going to use them the way that they originally were intended to be used. Like the word diversity, we're trying to take back some of these words and not have them only apply to the things that we hear and see on the news. So we will have a safe place. If you are completely out of your comfort zone and you are brave enough to come and check it out, we will do everything in our power to make sure that you don't feel unsafe, that you don't feel attacked or anything like that. I mean, that is the one thing that we can promise. Everybody is welcome. With one exception, everybody is welcome. The only people who wouldn't be welcome are the ones that can't check their politics at the door and or can't be nice to somebody else. If there's a group of people or a type of person that you refuse to be nice to, even as far as just being in the same room, you can't stop yourself from saying stuff, we don't want that kind of person in. Anybody else is welcome.
You're uninvited.
Right. But everybody's welcome. And if you can leave your politics outside for just a couple hours, you may be sitting next to somebody who you have no idea who you're sitting next to. And you can just talk to that person if you want to and say, hi, my name's John. Hi, my name's Trish. We can be friends for a couple minutes or a lifetime. None of that matters. We're not forcing anybody or expecting anybody to come here to make friends. We want people to come here because they want to check out what it's like to touch a gun, to fire a gun, to talk to somebody who owns a firearm and get their reasons why. Everybody that owns a firearm has their own unique reasons why, right? And those reasons are diverse. We want to get those stories out there and talk about those if we can. All kinds of cool stuff. I don't care who you are. There's going to be something cool for you to come and check out. And we're trying to get a wide array of firearms as far as people volunteering to bring firearms in that shooters can test out. Hopefully lots of ammo. We're working on getting some ammo sponsors to help out a little bit, but we'll take what we can get as far as donations. If you want to donate 1 box of ammo, we'll take it. Please help if you want to. We're a nonprofit organization and we're doing our best to put this on without a whole lot of help from ticket sales. I mean, the $20 goes a long way, but it's not going to cover everything. We're depending on all of our volunteers and all of our members to help out, right? And even if that means just help spread the word.
And that's another great point, John. For those individuals, businesses, CHP instructors, fireman instructors. You want to help us out that day, you want to be part of the instructor or range safety team, we'd love to have you. If you can't make it out and you can make a donation, we're going to share the love. This isn't our day, it's the people's day.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you would like for us to share your information with our membership and our almost 30,000 followers on Facebook, we're going to be more than generous with our, appreciation. So don't, hesitate to contact us, info@nebraskafirearms.org, on how you can help. John, I think, can actually put that out on our screen here. So we'd be happy to share who you are, your logo, company information, what have you. It really is a community event. And so in the same way, like other organizations like the NRA, I've done some like NRA Women on Target. It's the same kind of event. Except ours is broader. Ours is everyone. And so we want to make it a great day and support all the new shooters and give them a good solid foundation. And we have a great team already, and definitely, need more. It's, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on July 25th. So it's an all-day event. I'll be working it all day. And I hope you can join us. That would be awesome.
Now, for those of you wanting to attend as guests, you don't have to be there from 10 to 6. We have a couple different sessions, morning and afternoon. We understand it's Sunday, and we want to have a couple sessions so people can fit that into their day around their worship sessions. For those that do go to a place of worship on Sunday. The biggest thing, and again, I can't stress this enough, one of the biggest things besides being a safe space is, if you're wondering, would fill in the blank be welcome? Is this for fill in the blank group of people? Yes. Yes, it is. I don't care who's in the blank. It's for you. If you are an American citizen, the Second Amendment applies to you. It's for you. If you are, I shouldn't necessarily say that. Let me cover our tracks. If you are prohibited from possessing a firearm, we cannot let you touch one, but that's on you to know who you are. Anybody who is a citizen of the United States and has not lost any of their rights due to a felony is welcome, because the Second Amendment applies to you. NFOA has been here for 15 years now, almost. NFOA has been here. I'm learning this. I'm new as a board member, fairly new to the organization. We've been here with open arms, saying we don't care who you are. We don't care who you were. We don't care who you voted for in the past. We don't care any of this stuff. We want you to be part of our NFOA family. Tony over in New Jersey has been saying the same thing with his diversity shoots. We don't care who you are. We want to make more responsible, safe firearm owners in that area. Everything that Tony does fits so nicely with everything that NFOA is about. And so that's why we're getting together. He's helping us. We're helping him. And truth be told, I can't wait to meet him, because he's one of my friends that I've never actually shaken hands with before. So selfishly, I mean, I'm glad that we're able to do this, because I want to be able to meet this guy in person, who is a very, very cool guy. I can't say enough good things about the founder of Diversity Shoot. And when we get on the phone, we can have a 10-minute conversation turn into 2 hours if one of our wives don't shut us up and tell us it's time for supper, get off the phone. And so it's such a great event. We want everybody just to better understand what's going on, why we're doing this. We knew that there were a few people that maybe had a few questions or weren't really sure what's going on with NFOA. And like I said, we just came off Pride Month. The timing is totally coincidental. It's a day that Tony could come out to Nebraska, and that we had available both our volunteers, our host range, Athena Arms there in Bellevue, had that open as a day. And so everything kind of came together around July 25th. So that's why we picked that day, never even thinking that as we're starting to spread the word and we put some rainbow lettering up in our post, that people would, it never occurred to us that people would wonder, hey, what's going on here? We're a diverse group already. We want anybody and everybody who is a firearm owner in Nebraska to be part of our cause. And the more people who come together from different backgrounds, the more equipped we are when somebody tries to put a bill like the quote unquote suicide prevention bill that had nothing to do with suicide prevention. We've got more outreach to say, hey, here's what's actually going on, and help us spread the word, because we can get to more corners of our state more easily. And so that's what we're all about. And we wanted a chance to show the world who we are, who we've always been. It's not new. It's just now that it's in the news, we're making it a focus too.
Yeah. So John, thank you, for taking time out of your evening again to bring up this important subject. And again, I just want to invite everyone. It's going to be an incredible day. Really welcoming, lots of fun, great education. And it's a great way to get started, where people are really looking forward to seeing you and welcoming you and giving you training and education and holding conversations and having fun. It's a great chance to meet new people and to learn all about what NFOA stands for and how we've worked for you, whether you knew it or not. And that's the biggest thing is, NFOA represents everyone. We are the Firearm Owners Organization working to advance your rights and freedoms in our state. And your voice is our voice and our voice is your voice. And that's really what this is about, is the strength in numbers in different people. So thanks again, John. And if anyone else has any questions, we'll stand by for a little while and answer.
We've got a few questions out here that I do want to get to. Denise wants to know, or she says, I think we should do targeted outreach. If there were a great way to do that besides word of mouth, then we could maybe entertain that. But there's not a list of people who we can say, hey, we want to mail something out to everybody who has, this race, or everybody who has this religion or this sexual orientation. Those lists are not legal. So we don't have those to draw on to just send mailers out. What we can do is exactly the way that we do everything. And that's what grassroots means. It means everybody helps out. It's not something from the top down. It's from the ground up. And you talk to everybody and ask them to talk to everybody they know. And if that keeps going, then people will find out about it. And if they have questions, again, they're on the screen. They can email us info@nebraskafirearms.org. Joe Goebel wants to know, this is in Sarpy County, any special instructions on transporting firearms to or through? Are you...
So as far as like coming in and through Sarpy County, is that what you think the question's asking?
I think that's, if Joe, clarification if that's not what you mean, but any special instructions transporting firearms to or through Sarpy County or to Athena Arms?
Oh, so yeah, good question. So as long as you're a law-abiding gun owner, if you have a concealed handgun permit, you can carry your firearms as you normally would. If you don't have a concealed handgun permit, you need to have your firearm unloaded and cased far enough distance away from you so it's not on or about your person. That's because Nebraska Firearm Owners was successful in changing statute due to a Supreme Court ruling where if you didn't have a trunk and you couldn't lock your gun away from you, you were illegally carrying concealed, even if you were in a Suburban and the gun was all the way behind you. So there aren't any special regulations for traveling through Sarpy or transporting your firearms through Sarpy that you would have at any other place. There is no registration in Sarpy like in Omaha, so you're good to go.
Speaking of laws, Renee says, and Renee, if I'm not pronouncing your name right, I am sorry. Still waiting for Nebraska LB 188 to come out of committee. Yeah, it's probably at this point, if it hasn't by now, I think we can just assume that they're not going to vote on that one, or that they're not going to change their votes on it. It is deadlocked.
It is deadlocked. So here's the thing, though. It was brought up first session, this last session. So it's not dead yet. We have the fall session. And during the fall session, as you may be aware, with the Sanctuary County movement that has taken over Nebraska, where we only have Douglas and Lancaster counties as the only two counties that have not declared themselves in support of their oaths of office to protect and defend our Second Amendment rights. We're not letting LB 188 die. It is so significantly important, and given how green Nebraska has become, what we're hoping for is that unified voice is going to get the attention of a senator who is going to be willing to make it their priority bill and do a pull motion so that it gets pulled out of committee, out of deadlock, so that it can see the light, on the floor of the unicameral and be fairly debated, so that all the senators representing all these counties that declared themselves Second Amendment sanctuary counties will have to face the truth that our citizens in Nebraska want to declare specifically to the federal government that illegal executive orders and pieces of legislation that are being bantered about now at the House and the Senate that are in direct violation of our Second Amendment rights will not be enforced here in Nebraska. So it's not dead. It is primarily between constitutional carry, Second Amendment sanctuary. Man, it's a toss-up. Those are my two priority bills, and I'm not going to let go of either.
And if we can't get anything done in this session, you have our word. We will keep working the next session and the next one after that until we get it done.
Yeah.
Getting permitted concealed carry in Nebraska didn't happen overnight either. That was a fight.
No.
But eventually we won that one.
We were like 42nd.
Yeah.
42nd out of 50. That's crazy.
And now we almost are an island of permit required.
Yeah.
We have 6 states that we share a state line with.
Mm-hmm.
5 of those 6 now have some sort of permitless carry.
Yeah.
So yeah, we would love to see that. It's not a fast process, but we're doing everything we can. A couple other questions real quick. Mark's got one about people from his dad about people going door to door for vaccine or gun grabbing. Now on the vaccine, that's not something that NFOA is qualified to even discuss. On the gun grabbing part of it, maybe. So Trish, I'm going to let you, with your experience as an instructor, does a no trespassing sign legally help?
So it really comes down to what exactly are you facing? Are you facing a court order that requires you to surrender your firearms, and are you refusing to, comply with that court order? The biggest thing, that's on an individual basis. But what most people are concerned about is sort of the door-to-door federal government confiscation idea that gets bannered about, where there's going to be a forced buyback. And if you don't show up to the predetermined site to, quote unquote, sell back your firearms to the government, they're going to come to your door to get them. And that's why the Second Amendment county resolutions were so important. It was an affirmation of the oaths by the county commissioners in support of the sheriff, which is the highest law of the land at the county level, that no county resources would be used for illegal enforcement. And since the county commissioners are responsible for the budget that oversees the sheriff as well as the attorney general, that has a lot of teeth. And so if the federal government doesn't have like a mass police force to go state to state and door to door, then in the same way that, say, the decriminalization of marijuana in Colorado is being handled, where nobody's enforcing it and there are no state agencies, supporting the federal government's enforcement, the same thing would apply here. There would not be enough personnel at the federal level to come door to door through any state, let alone Nebraska.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I just want to mention, because a few people I know aren't exactly clear on the difference between the 2A sanctuary county and the proclamation we're a sanctuary state, and then LB 188, which would be state law,
right?
A statute actually put into place that has the weight of law. So they're all important. The proclamation that the governor made is a good thing as long as he's governor, which isn't much longer. But any governor could come in and erase that if we don't have a pro 2A governor next term.
And a proclamation is just that. It's like Beef Day
It
or
says, yes,
Mother's
it says
Day.
we're a 2A state, but it's not a law.
It's not a law.
We have 90 or 91 out of 93 counties now have adopted 2A sanctuary resolutions, which, yes, that means that the county officials will not be involved in any unconstitutional federal laws. But it still does not stop the state officials from enforcing or prosecuting. And that is where LB 188 would come in, where it would, under penalty of consequences, it would stop not only any police force, including the state patrol, from enforcing such a federal measure, but it would also stop the prosecutors from prosecuting. They would not be able to prosecute such a crime either, even if someone did get arrested for it. And so that's something that we still need to work toward, along with getting rid of well, I would love constitutional carry. We may have to settle for permitless carry to start with, but again, constitutional carry means anything. Permitless means you don't have to have a permit to have your handgun concealed. So we'll mince words later. Couple things that I also want to get into real quick before we go. Has nothing to do with diversity shoot or really even any of the laws right now. But as a 501c4 nonprofit, there are things that we can do, and we absolutely do them. And there are also things that we are not allowed to do and keep our 501c4 status. And so a couple of the comments that have been floated out there, they're great ideas. Get involved in one or two political campaigns and get rid of some bad politicians. That'll help build membership too. And then another comment that came through that said, we need to call out those politicians. When you were mentioning the ones that say they're pro 2A, but then they think that the Second Amendment only means hunting ducks or hunting deer, and it doesn't apply to an individual right to keep and bear arms on your person for self-defense, or to own whatever firearm you want in case the government gets too big for its britches. And so do you want to just real quick cover why it is, or what we can do as far as getting rid of some of the politicians who want to trample on our liberties, and then also how we are not able to do as much as some people think we should? And Craig, I do see your comment. We'll get there real quick too. I want to touch on that before we're gone. Oh, and Eddie's got a question about Douglas County. That's going to take some doing. So real quick, just Trish, do you want to explain exactly what we can do as far as within political campaigns and politicians and some of the stuff that we aren't able to do?
Right. We can obviously, educate people about individual politicians' voting records. We can obviously share information about where a politician is partnering with NFOA to craft language to actually put forth bills or ordinances. That's just pure information, right? So, for instance, we've lauded the work of certain senators like Senator Brewer, Senator Julie Slama in the past. At the same time, it's very specific. It's tangible. It's factual. But for instance, if there was a election coming up, we couldn't say vote for them or vote for this person or vote for that. That's a very important distinction. That is reserved for a different kind of political organization, which is called a PAC, a political action committee, where they actually take donations for the purposes of actually getting people elected. Right. So we don't do electioneering. That's the biggest distinction. So
when it comes down to bad politicians, and I'm speaking to anybody out there as a citizen, as a voter, you do what you want. You're allowed to say whatever you want. You have the First Amendment protection in this country to say it. As a 501c4, NFOA can't always say even what Trish can't always say what she's thinking. I can't always say what I'm thinking in the capacity of an NFOA board member. That's why I have another outlet that I vent my frustrations. But NFOA can't always say and do what some of our members think that we should, and there are reasons why, and it's because of the legalities of our organization status as a nonprofit. Last, before we wrap up here, and if anybody has any other questions, well, two more, because Eddie on the YouTube side, Eddie wants to know, how do we get Douglas County on board to become a sanctuary county?
So as you may have noticed, things have quieted down a little bit. I will be honest, we are a very, very lean organization. And between NFOA work, my daytime job, my nighttime job, my 2 businesses, and my family, and running full tilt, speed ahead through the Sanctuary County movement since really starting November of 2020 forward, I needed to regroup and re-energize. And so Douglas and Lancaster are now the next 2 that are going to be targeted in the sense of education and grassroots development. So after the diversity shoot is when I'm going to have the bandwidth to basically help facilitate that. But basically all it takes is a group of people making a larger group of people, making a bigger group of people who are writing and talking to their county commissioners about the movement, why it matters to them. I'm really not needed. I might be like an ignition source, but anybody can light that match, to bring the light to this topic. But yes, sometimes it helps with being able to, benchmark off of other best practices, which is what, my work was doing. I was helping educate and hold meetings and helping people understand. Yes, I know, honey. My dog's like wondering what's going on. So yeah, we'll be bringing that to bear right after the diversity shoot.
And then that flows right into the last comment here. Craig has actually made 2 comments that I've seen about having some parades to get the word out, or even potentially the parades that are in existence, maybe just having a float or something, an entry in those parades.
Yeah,
that is a tremendous idea.
A genius idea. And I got to hear from Denise, because Denise was chatting about it too. So thank you. That is the power of having more than one brain on this platform.
Now, to make it happen, we need everybody's help, because, and I know Trish just mentioned this, but let me reiterate this. And I'm not saying this to get anybody to either feel sorry for us or pat us on the back. It's not about that at all. We do not get paid to do this for NFOA. Nobody is on the payroll. We're 100% volunteer run and 100% volunteer operated. And so Trish has a day job, a couple different night jobs, and family, business, all that kind of stuff. I've got a full-time job. I've got a weekend job. I've got a family. My wife has had some health issues recently as well. Life happens, right? You all know how life can happen. It happens to us too. We're just regular Nebraskans who are willing to help out and be part of the NFOA as board members, but we're no different than any of the rest of you. And so we always want the volunteers. We always want the donations too, because if you've noticed, if you're a member, you don't pay to be a member. We don't make any money off memberships because it's free. And the $0 that you pay for membership, that's what Trish and I get paid. We get paid out of the membership dues. That's what I always joke. That's $0. So here's the thing is, all of these ideas are great, and please keep them coming, because there are things that we just flat out, we get busy. We don't always have time to come up with great ideas. Right. And there are people that come up with awesome ideas all the time. Sometimes we just don't have
like we could go, all the different, like Juneteenth, Cinco de Mayo, the big Italian fest. And then as you cross, out into, middle and western Nebraska, like I would love to go to Kool-Aid days. So
there are so many great things that we can do.
There's a bunch of different events like that we could probably, get, 15, 20 people with a banner. It doesn't have to be us. It could be you. So,
and that's just it. We've got Husker Harvest Days. We've got the State Fair in Grand Island. We've got Nebraska Land Days in North Platte. We've got the Ranch Expo in Bassett every year. We've got several county fairs out in the western part of the state that are huge, like the Chase County Fair. I know is always a big deal in Imperial. We know that you are out there. We know that you want to help. We just need some help getting the boots on the ground out in the other parts of the state. I'm in Norfolk. Most of our board is in the Omaha area, and there are only 7 of us on the board. We just need people to get on here, become members, become volunteers, and then get on some committees so that we can make this happen. Because that's part of what we've talked about in some of our meetings is ways to make that happen in other parts of the state as well. We want everybody from Richardson County all the way out to Sioux County to know that we're here, that we're doing this, and that only happens if you help spread the word.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining us this evening.
Eddie says that he'll be in touch and he'll be at the diversity shoot. Cannot wait to see you. Make sure you find us and introduce yourself, Eddie. All of you who come to the diversity shoot or any event where there are NFOA board members present, please come up and introduce yourself to us and say hi, because we're just normal people. We're very approachable. I can speak for all 6 of my colleagues on the board. There's nobody who doesn't have time to say hi to a member. Nobody that thinks highly of themselves more highly than anybody else. So great group of people to be on the board with. And I'm not just saying that because Trish is listening. And so I think with that, we're going to wrap it up. We've gone about an hour here. Any kind of fairs or get-togethers, events where people are going to get together, especially if there's a parade. And if you want to get some materials and even just walk the parade and maybe get some flyers or something to hand out, let us know. We'll see how to make that happen. Please, I'll put that back up on the screen here. info@nebraskafirearms.org. If you're not a member, please go to nebraskafirearms.org and click the link to become a member. I tell you what, I will pay for everybody's membership that hears this right now because it's free, so I'm not paying anything. You'll never pay for membership, and that is in our bylaws. You'll never have to pay to be a member. That being said, I'm not too proud to ask for your money when it comes to NFOA. It does not go to Trish. It does not go to me. It does not go to anybody's pocket. It goes back to educate and also help fight bad bills or pass good bills in the legislature. So absolutely, you can sure send us money because we always need those donations to help us keep going. So and some of the donations are definitely going to be used to help get Tony out here to get this diversity shoot kicked off so that we know what we're doing so that we can do it again and again and again. So please help us make the first one huge and just spread the word. Share the link to this live stream tonight. It's going to be available forever as long as Facebook and YouTube allow it to be. So just because you didn't catch it live doesn't mean you can't listen. Please share it, get the word out. And if anybody has any questions at all, again, info@nebraskafirearms.org is the place to just flood that inbox with questions, would you? That'd be great. I would love to hear Trish complain that so many people have responded that she can't get through all of the emails every night after work. Please make her have that complaint.
That'd be great. Love it.
All right. So with that, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We hope that you will either show up yourself, Athena Arms, Bellevue, Nebraska, July 25th, 2021 for the diversity shoot. There's going to be all kinds of stuff. The more donations we can get, we'll have prizes, some raffles, things like that, some fun stuff. It's going to be fun for the whole family. Nobody is uninvited as long as you are okay with everybody else being invited too. So absolutely want to see you there. Thanks everybody for being members, making NFOA as successful as we have been. And here's to many, many more members as well. So thanks everybody. Trish, thanks for hanging out with me.
Thanks, John. Enjoyed it. Thanks everyone. Stay safe.
Good night, everyone.